I was the manager of Zodiac Productions, which Zodiac Productions, its name's been changed since then. I'm not even sure what they call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. And that's not even the name of the company that owns it. The name of the company that owns it is Brenner Enterprises, and Brenner Enterprises is owned by Chase Manhattan. Chase Manhattan's owned by Standard Oil, and Standard Oil is owned by the Lords of London. You can track it on back. You kind of get the idea after a while. But I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It's one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. Now, one of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, do they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, do they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now, I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He says, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. The master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on, and it's placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master's cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive office. And it's placed on an altar sitting in the north of the room, and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. I said, okay, one last thing. I've been hearing that you must be an initiated witch now to get a record contract. He said, that's right. He says, many of us that weren't total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music.
Courtney, do you know of ever involved in the occult or witchcraft or anything like that?
Absolutely, man. No kidding. She got really fascinated with it, especially when she was with MTV. And the head people at MTV were totally into satanic cults. The kind of stuff where they were having meetings wearing red masks and sacrificing people and stuff.
Get the hell out of here, at MTV.
The heads of MTV, the people at the top levels of MTV, were definitely satanic cults. When MTV first started, there was a cult of black magic or dark magic. Let's call it dark magic. People at MTV, musicians that were going through MTV were couldn't get on MTV unless they were vetted by these people.
Really?
And they had definite proclivities to not let anybody in there unless they were able to manipulate them through these various cult practices.
Welcome to the Satanic Cult Awards, ladies and gentlemen. All hail the Dark Lord.
Who wants to pray to the devil with me? Who's in with me? Come on, hey. Let me see those horns. Let me see those horns. Now take the hand of the person next to you. Come on, Leighton. Dear Dark Lord Satan, hope everything's good with you. I'm doing fine myself. Just want to say hi and ask you to grant tonight's nominees continued success in the music industry.
I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to thank Satan.
We'd like to thank you for this MTV award. It will take pride of place on my mantle next to my upside-down rubber cross and my signed copy of The Wicker Man.
I sit on a council of 13 people that take orders only from the Rothschild Tribunal in London, which they claim they take their orders directly from Lucifer.
Go home and count your kids' records, probably yours too, and count how many demons at least are there. If that's too hard for you to believe, I'm sorry. That's why they do it. Now listen to me. This is why rock music's addicting. Have you ever seen kids that got rid of their music? They go around like this. They can't wait to find a rock station somewhere and they sneak off just like getting a cigarette or a fix because it's addicting. That's why they can't give it up. The rest of the conversation was this. You can't cast a spell on a Christian, but you can get a Christian to cast a spell on themselves. If you give the permission for the spell to work, being a Christian won't block it. And rock music is not just a song. It is supernatural music that which is carefully designed by their spirit guides or familiar spirits in the form of spells. Now, although the devil's music's power is the music and God's music is the words, much of the songs are written in what we call witch language. To give you kind of an idea, many of you talk on a CB, unless you know what a smoky is, and a 10-4, and a front door and back door and rocking chair and these type of things, you don't know what you're talking about. Same with witches. When you're in the first and second level, you have to learn over 2,000 words that said by anybody else means something totally different than when you say them. Elton John has said he's never written a song or sung a song that wasn't in witch language. Now I want to show you something. See how many kids in here will be honest and adults. How many remember and have heard at least several times a song called Hotel California? Somebody tell me what it meant. Quickly, somebody tell me what it meant. Huh? That's pretty close. But from the words, what did it mean? Well, that's more of a guess. See, most people can't tell you. That's why when people do drugs and they listen to songs in which language, they get some of the meaning. But most of the time, they can't tell you. Stop and think how many songs are out there that you really like, and you don't have any idea what the person was talking about. Beyond the Yellow Brick Road? How about The Destroyer by Kiss? Can anybody tell me what it's about? Kiss said in it, kids, kill your parents. They're talking about Helter Skelter. Beatles sung Helter Skelter in which language? Nobody knew what it meant. Manson did because he belongs to the process. Helter Skelter is a several thousand-year-old word. Most of the music is either about Helter Skelter or a place called the Night Winds, which is what Hotel California is about, and different doctrines of witchcraft. You listen to them, your parents let you listen to them, and they have no idea. Kiss openly bragged how they were gaining control of people through their music because the people played their music. They told how they didn't form their own group. Their church, because they were ordained ministers of the Satanist church, placed them together. And that's how most of the music is done. David Crosby, when him and Crosby, Still, Nash & Young produced the record Two-Way Street, they ordered the Principality of Medici to order Demons of Rebellion to go into the record, and everybody that heard it would be rebellious against law and order and government. And it was one of the reasons for the great upheaval in the 60s was that one album, and they take open credit for it.
Very hard, the tune will come to you at last, when all are one and one is all, to be a rock and not to roll. If you listen to the tune,
all right, now you're going to play this backwards.
Right. To get critics even, you know, or the skeptics, to show them what I'm going to do, I've actually taken the exact piece of tape that you just heard it off.
Phrase here, because you know sometimes words have two meanings.
Right.
That's in the second verse there. That really caught my attention.
Think, you know, we've proved that tonight. Yeah. Revolution number 9 says, turn me on dead man backwards. Mm-hmm. Two meanings. Other pieces in here, there's a feeling I get when I look to the west. And in medieval times, the west was the direction of hell, because that's where the sun died, in the west. Sun was born in the east, that was the direction of heaven. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. And I'll read the last verse for you, because it's very interesting. It says, and as we want... All right, let's go ahead and start. Okay.
I heard something there.
All right.
Particularly among adolescents, is a very powerful motivator of behavior. It wasn't so long ago that an entire war was turned on the basis of youth music with Vietnam. And music was really central. We underestimate the power of music, because music touches the limbic system, or the emotional system of our brain, which actually, though slower than other parts, can overwhelm all of the other parts. Think about how we lose our mind when we fall in love. And we literally do, because of the power of the emotion. That being said, the music system has been
around for about 75 years. I'm kind of surprised at it.
And I had never heard it.
Well, you're not the only one.
Right.
It's a $10 word, but it has a $1 meaning. It means really the study of music and sound all over the world, and not just what music is, but also what music does. And I was thinking that today, in honor of Martin Luther King Jr., I could explain a little bit about that, because the music played a tremendously important part of the role in the civil rights movement.
If your favorite song makes you cry, it is because it is literally changing your brain chemistry. Research has shown that brain waves will resonate with the beat of music, and that makes your breathing and your heartbeat actually try to match the beat of the song. Now, humans and songbirds are the only two kinds of animals on Earth that this happens to, which means on some fundamental level, we are wired to respond to music. Now,
in this experiment, Dr. Emoto's researchers used a glass of Tokyo tap water, which seems to be unable to form crystals, and performed a test. Participants placed the glass in the center of their circle and sent gratitude to the water. Studying the water under the microscope, they started to see a crystal formation. Increased magnification showed the symmetry of the crystal, revealing how the tap water was transformed by the gratitude sent by the group. The crystal continued to grow, expressing the energies received. The tap water from Tokyo finally produced a beautiful crystal.
It was interesting to see children so completely astonished after they witnessed the difference in Tokyo. It was interesting to see children so completely astonished after they witnessed the difference in Tokyo tap water, before and after they sent the prayer. Their mothers were kind of skeptical before this experiment. But afterwards, they said, "We really have to believe it."
A Dallas rapper was murdered outside of his car on I-35 near the Dallas Zoo. Hello, I'm Steve Eager.
I'm Heather Hayes. It is a stark example of the city's struggle to control violent crime. Police say the victim, a hip-hop musician named Mo 3, was approached by the killer on
Pop Smoke, a rapper on the rise, has died at the age of 20.
Rapper Nipsey Hussle has died after being shot outside his South Los Angeles clothing store on Sunday.
David, we arrived to a heavy media and police presence here outside of the Studio City home of rapper Mac Miller. And authorities confirm here a death investigation is.
A rapper who went by the name XXX Tentacion is dead following a shooting in Florida, the Broward County Sheriff's.
And turn to the sudden and shocking death of rap star Juice WRLD. The 21-year-old, who is named Billboard's Best New Artist this year, suffered a medical. One of those new revelations about Prince's death. An autopsy has now confirmed that he died from an overdose of a...
We're getting some breaking news coming into the situation right now from...
We now know what caused the death of singer Whitney Houston. She was, of course, found dead in a hotel bathtub last month. On Thursday, coroner's officials said she drowned accidentally.
This kind of weird, like, yeah, you're in the room, but, you know, we're the arbiter of whether you can stay in the room. They do these 360 deals where it's like, right. If you get a perfume deal, if you, like, your whole world,
they own you.
We own a piece of your whole world. And fame is such a great quotient in American life now that you can see where kids would trade fame and be willing to give away, like, the profit part. Look, for them to have an equity position, they agreed to very low rates for the artist's music. But as Spotify and the other streaming services raise up in their equity position, the labels benefit. So the labels pimped out their own artists to take a greater equity position in a rising...
The hip young executives, they think, well, we can't take a chance on this because it's just simply, that's not what the kids really want, and I know. You know, and they got that attitude. And the
advances from the recording companies, I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work, I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise, and they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave, I just want to, you know, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual property.